In the heart of the African plains, the village of Namaroko lay motionless beneath a cruel sun. Dust covered everything: the rooftops, the once green millet fields, even the spirits of the people. The land had not seen rain in 7 long seasons. Goats grew thin, wells dried up, and hope, once abundant like mangoes in summer, had withered. Here, silence was no accident, it was survival. At the edge of Namaroko stood the bone tree, tall, haunting, and pale as bone. Children whispered stories about it, and elders averted their eyes. Its roots twisted like secrets beneath the cracked red soil of Africa. Some said it grew from the bones of a forgotten girl who defied the gods. Others said it sang when no one was listening. But no one dared test either tale. Aroha, just 15, walked with bare feet hardened by Africa's hot clay. Her eyes, stormy and questioning, saw what others ignored. She wasn't afraid of bones or legends. She was afraid of forgetting. She moved through the dust like a breeze searching for rain, always wondering why the old ones feared the past more than they feared the drought. Under a great baobab in the center of the African village, elders gathered, draped in robes the color of sand. Their voices cracked like firewood as they argued about forgotten gods, broken covenants, and ancient shame. But when Aroha asked about the bone tree, silence fell like ash. No one answered. No one dared. Under a crooked African moon, Aroha crept barefoot through the village. The huts slept. The goats lay still. But the wind stirred, as if watching. She stepped into the savannah night with purpose. Toward the bone tree, toward the truth. Each footstep whispered rebellion against generations of silence. There, beneath the ghostly branches, her fingers brushed something buried. A carved bone, shaped like a flute, warm despite the night. African soil, dry and cracked, parted around it like it had waited for her. The spiral etched on it pulsed faintly. When she touched it, the wind howled, not from the sky, but from the earth below. In their sleep, the people of Namaroko awoke gasping. The winds, silent for years, now screamed through thatched roofs and mango trees. Children cried. Mothers clutched charms. The wind carried something ancient, something remembered, something no one had heard since the drought began. At sunrise, Aroha's voice was gone. Not stolen, given. Her mother, Anzama, wept softly behind the cooking hut. She knew the flute, knew the tree, knew what it meant for her daughter to have touched it. The girl's silence was not emptiness, it was inheritance. In Africa, sometimes the voice goes quiet when the ancestors begin to speak. The elders gathered once more beneath the baobab, this time quiet. When Aroha entered, flute in hand, they sat straighter. She did not speak, she could not, but she raised the flute, and something in the wind turned warm. The flute belonged to Lale, the bone singer, a girl buried by time, whose song had once made the ancestors weep. With trembling fingers, Aroha lifted the bone flute to her lips. No sound came, but the sky darkened. A coolness swept over the African plains. Goats raised their heads, children stopped crying, and the bone tree swayed. The sky, once a stranger, leaned closer to listen. The first drop fell like a blessing. It struck the red earth of Namaroko with a soft kiss. Then another, and another. Elders fell to their knees. Children laughed in awe. The African sky, silent for years, was finally speaking again. And in its voice was the memory of a girl no one had dared remember. As the rain soaked the village, Aroha stood completely still, head bowed, hair clinging to her cheeks. The flute glowed faintly in her hands. The bone tree no longer hummed. It wept. In Africa, rain is not just water. It is memory made flesh. And the ancestors had finally forgiven. From the shadows, Anzama watched her daughter and whispered the old prayer. Let the girl remember what we tried to forget. Let her carry what we buried. The African wind brushed past her cheek like a promise. Anzama knew now. Aroha was not cursed. She was chosen. Each night, Aroha returned to the bone tree. She sat cross-legged on the African soil, flute at her lips, playing melodies no one could hear, yet everyone felt. Her song stitched old wounds in silence. Even the frogs, once gone, returned to the puddles to sing with her. Soon, the girls of Namaroko sat around Aroha in the grass, carving flutes from twigs and bones. They listened not to sound, but to memory. Aroha, now called the Bone Keeper, taught them the songs their grandmothers forgot. In Africa, teaching is not in words, but in rhythm. Then one morning, the bone tree bloomed. White flowers, soft, round, glowing, burst from its twisted limbs. The entire African village gathered. No one spoke. No one dared. The girl had not only awakened the tree, she had forgiven it. Aroha knelt at the base of the tree and placed a carved wooden likeness of Lale, the girl whose song had once warned the village. She whispered, "We remember you." And with that, the African earth trembled, not in fear, but in gratitude. For the first time in years, the elders approached the shrine, not with fear, but with reverence. They offered not only yams and dried fish, but stories, the truth about Lale, about the bone tree, about what happens when you bury warnings instead of honoring them. In the aftermath of the rain, Aroha knelt beside a puddle and saw her face, still young, but wiser, stronger. In her reflection, she did not see fear. She saw the sky, the tree, and the girl she used to be. In Africa, water holds memory, and the puddle remembered her name. The rains brought not only water, but color. A rainbow curled across the morning sky like a promise kept. Villagers danced in fields of fresh green. Feet stomped, drums returned, and above it all, the bone tree watched, no longer a relic, but a witness. A festival bloomed in Namaroko. Faces painted in ashen ochre, cassava roasting over fire pits, girls leaping barefoot to the rhythm of drums. And Aroha danced not as a goddess, not as a savior, but as one of them, a girl who listened when no one else would. After the noise faded, Aroha returned to the bone tree. She sat cross-legged, spine straight, flute across her lap. She closed her eyes. The African wind brushed against her cheek again, gentle, full of song. Stillness, she knew, was the deepest form of listening. That night, rain fell gently on Namaroko. No thunder, no drama, just a hymn. Children slept with full bellies and dreams of clouds that never vanished. The rain did not fall because it was called. It fell because it had been understood. The bone tree stood in silence, no longer a symbol of shame, but of remembering. Around its roots, fresh green grass grew, and barefoot prints of young girls danced in circles. They would never forget again. Africa, like the sky, had learned to listen. At sunrise, Aroha walked alone through the fields, drum slung across her back, flute in hand. Birds watched. The wind paused. She was not just a girl anymore. She was the bone keeper, guardian of memory, protector of song, child of Africa's forgotten truth.